In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the approximate procedures for installing both R and RStudio on your computer. So the first thing we want to do is install R. To do that, start by going to cran.rstudio.com, as you can see on the screen here. This isn't the only way to do it, but this is one convenient way to do it. So if you have a Mac computer, you can click here, download R for Mac OS. And then in most cases, what you'll want to do is just click here where my mouse is and download this file. And then open it on your computer and follow the instructions to install R on your computer. So again, this is a software called R, which is separate from RStudio, which we'll be installing next. Now, if you have a Windows computer, then you can click here and then click on the word base. And then finally click here on download R for Windows, and whatever the latest version is will show up here. So like with the Mac, you would click here and then it'll offer you to download a file, or it might just start downloading the file for you right away and save it on your computer. And then you want to open that file, which is an installer for R, and follow the instructions to install R on your computer. Keep in mind that you can pause the video or go back in the video if you need to review what we just looked at. Anyway, once you've installed R on your computer, you do not need to open it on the computer. It just needs to be there, but we don't actually need to open it. Now we're going to turn our attention to RStudio, which is a software that's going to help us use the data analysis platform, which is called R. So we're going to be working only in RStudio, but we first needed to install R on our computers. Okay, so to install RStudio, we go to posit.co/download/rstudio-desktop. Or you can just go to posit.co and you might see a link like this in the top right, download RStudio, or somewhere else on the page. So however you arrive at this destination doesn't exactly matter. As you can see, this is the page to download RStudio Desktop, which is what we want to do. So the first step it says here is to download and install R. Well, we just did that. So you can skip down to step number 2. And now in step number 2, there will be a button saying to download RStudio Desktop, and then it should just detect automatically what kind of computer you have. So I'm on a Windows computer right now, so it says for Windows, but if you're on a Mac or you're on a Linux computer, it should say, for Mac or for Linux. And then you can just go ahead and click on this button, and it should once again offer to download a file for you, or it might just automatically start downloading a file to your computer. That file is the installer for RStudio. And then you want to open that file up on your computer and follow all the instructions and click next to install RStudio on your computer. Okay, so we'll take a moment here to review what we did. And if you encountered any problems while trying to install R or RStudio, and if you're a student in my class, just contact me right away and we'll meet and figure out what the problem is and get everything working on your computer. I just want to review here what we did. So first we installed R. We downloaded the correct version for our type of computer and put it on our computer. Then we installed RStudio, which is a separate software. It's very important to remember that these are 2 separate softwares. And what we're going to do next, as you see at the bottom, is we're not going to use R. R is just something we needed to install to allow us to then use RStudio. So what we're going to do is we're going to open RStudio, which I'll demonstrate now. What you see here is my entire shared screen on my Windows computer. So if you're on a Mac, this is of course going to look very different, but what you're trying to do is exactly the same. what I'd like you to do is go down to the start, and then you can just start typing. You can type RStudio for RStudio, and you should find an app that looks like this. This is what the icon should look like that you can see on my screen here. So if you're not on Windows like me, but you have a Mac, you're also looking for this icon. It should say RStudio. You can maybe search for it in your Finder or your list of applications. Even here on Windows, we could have just searched for it here in our list of applications. So we'll go down to R. You see there's just the letter R. We don't want that. What we do want is RStudio. And then we're going to launch RStudio by clicking here. And let's see what happens. So this is something that may or may not happen on your computer, but RStudio is asking you to tell it if you installed R already, which in our case we did. And what I find to work the best for me is to choose this third option right here. But you could also just leave it the way it is now, where it says auto detect, and click OK, and it might work out for you. But what I'm going to do is click here, and then I'm going to click here on this option because it seems to be aware that I already installed R. It just needs me to confirm that. And now I'm going to click OK and see what happens. Okay, great. So it looks like RStudio has launched successfully. So what this likely means is that R is working for us, and also RStudio is working for us. Now, when you start RStudio, you might be asked a question like the one you see on my screen here. You can choose for yourself how you wish to answer it. It doesn't matter or affect how you'll be able to use the software. It's just your personal preference. Now that we have RStudio installed and it looks like it's working, I'm going to stop this video, but remember this is part of a series of videos that can show you more about how to use RStudio. So keep watching and be sure to ask any questions that you might have from the people who are teaching you data science and quantitative analysis. Thanks.